Welcome back, Love Stylers. I'm Misty. Today we're going to be talking about your tongue. Blame it on your tongue, guys, because it's probably not your fault. So we talk a lot on this channel about diet stuff, being on a keto diet all these years. I think I'm in 5 years now, guys, and I moved over to carnivore. So I lost 55 pounds and 8 sizes between the two diets. And I love talking about this kind of stuff with you guys. So if it's your first time here, welcome home to Love Style. Stick with me this year. Please subscribe. Send it to a friend if you want to stay on track. So I know this is a totally weird topic to talk about the tongue today, but I like doing weird stuff, guys. So it may not be you, and it may not be your fault that you crave certain things, and your tongue may be more in charge right now to the things that you crave, or going off your diet, or things you think you need to taste. Because let's be real, guys, the reason people don't stay on track when they're dieting is because they are either hungry or they think they're hungry. And I am going to take the load off of you today and take the blame off of you and blame your tongue. And I want to blame my tongue too, guys, because I am not perfect. I live a low-carb lifestyle, but I am not perfect by any means. And I blame this on my tongue. And taking the blame off of ourselves and blaming it on our tongue, I think is a clever way to fool ourselves a little bit. But we are really in control. And I'm going to talk about some funny things about the tongue today and start off with a very quick tongue twister. This one is supposed to be the hardest tongue twister in the world, according to MIT. I'm going to have to read this off my notes, guys. Pad kid poured curd pulled cod. Pad kid poured curds pulled. Pad kid poured curd pulled cod. How can a clam cram in a clean cream corn? Wait, that was wrong. How can a clam cram in a clean cream can? So the first thing I thought of when I was thinking about the tongue is, besides the obvious stuff like making us crave things, I feel like it's the strongest muscle in the body. And I think I learned that when I was a kid, but I looked it up, guys, and it is not the strongest muscle in the body. Now, I am going to play devil's advocate today and say, yes, it is the strongest muscle in the body. And I'll get to why in a minute. But actually, the internet says that the butt is actually the strongest muscle and the largest muscle in the body. Now, my butt cannot do what my tongue can do. And I'm going to talk about those things today, but this does relate to diet. I think it relates to memories, and I'm going to name some funny things about the tongue that you may not have known. So, of course, we relate the tongue to taste because we have taste buds on the tongue. That's almost like a tongue twister. Taste buds on the tongue. So there are anywhere between 2,000 to 8,000 taste buds on a person's tongue. Some people have more taste buds than others. And there's a phenomenon called a super taster. Now, if you have trouble staying on your diet, or you have cravings, or you just find you're falling off track sometimes a little too often, guys, you may be a super taster. So a super taster is somebody who has more sensitivity to certain tastes, supposedly. I don't know how they can prove this, but certain sensitivity to tastes to where they become a super taster. And I just automatically I think of the people on like Chopped, on the Food Network, where they try the food and they're experts, or foodies, or food critics. Maybe they're all super tasters. Now, some days I'm definitely a super taster. And that is another way we can let ourselves off the hook today. Blame the tongue. Go ahead and blame it on the tongue, because it might not be completely your fault. And I love placing the blame on an organ in the body, or is it a muscle? so we don't have to take credit for falling off track when we're trying to be so good on our diet. Oh, by the way, and each taste bud has 50 to 150 taste receptors on the tongue, and they refer to taste buds on the tongue as one organ. So this is kind of interesting if you've never thought about it before. So the tongue is part of the autonomic nervous system. And in plain English, guys, I don't get sciencey on this channel. It basically means it has a mind of its own. It does its thing. It's automatic, like your heart beats automatically and your blood flows automatically and your microbiome in the stomach. All these things function without you having to tell it to with your mind. And so when the tongue is part of the autonomic, hard to say, nervous system, that's a tongue twister, it means you don't have to control it, and you cannot really control it very well. So it does its own thing. So something very interesting happened to me this last week and prompted me to want to talk about the tongue. And the tongue is responsible for taste and also for preparing your body to be able to digest food. So the tongue is responsible for chewing with the mouth and the teeth, of course. And this is interesting because something happened in my life personally that I won't get into in this video, but I will tell you, it got me thinking about the tongue because they tell you to properly digest food. The best way is to chew your food 10, 15, 20, 30 times. Now, guys, if you pay attention to when you're chewing food, I will guarantee you, you're only chewing it like 10 times or less. And I would even bet on less. And I tested myself on this. And what got me thinking about the tongue and what it has to do with all of this is your tongue, while you're chewing food, starts to swallow the food automatically before you're done chewing it. I swear, you have to try this tonight because you will see I am right. It's kind of freaky. And the tongue is like a little monster in your mouth. If you're not careful, and we're going to get into other things that it's great for besides helping you digest, helping you chew your food and swallow your food, but try to chew your food a few times and see if your tongue tries to swallow it before you're done. It's really weird. It's super weird. Yeah, like you're supposed to chew like 30 times. So it digests correctly and your microbiome won't get screwed up. Yeah, but like when I try to chew something, like even like 10 times, it's too much for me. I'm like hungry already. It's like, get it in the stomach. God. So it's an autonomic reflex when your tongue starts to swallow your food before you're done chewing. So that's the proper term for it, guys. There's different parts of the tongue that are responsible for tasting different parts of the food. So if you look at my thumbnail this week, guys, I tried very hard on it and I made it myself. I'm just getting into this stuff, guys. I'm learning so much. It's so fun doing YouTube, by the way. But in the back is bitter. In the front, around the very tip of your tongue, is salty. Right at the center of the tip of your tongue is sweet taste. And on the two sides, equally, we taste sour. And all of this is related to dopamine in my eyes because it's a sensory experience that we're going through when we're eating food. And I really want to blame all of this on the tongue because when we like certain foods, I really feel like it is connected in a sensory way to a memory from us when we were children. Maybe the first time you tried pizza. Maybe you were at a party and you had some sweets and you experienced joy for the first time when you tasted your favorite food. Maybe you're a super taster and certain foods taste better on your tongue than somebody else's. And I think this is why finding one diet for every single person in the world is never gonna work. So this is where you guys need to tweak, of course. Now for me, I love the taste of meat, cheese, eggs, so I love a carnivore diet. Now, it's helping me heal a lot of things. It is not a perfect lifestyle, guys, because you have to eat a lot of meat. And sometimes I want something a little bit fresh. So I do leave some vegetables in there occasionally, not very often though. So we know that senses in general carry a lot of memory. Memory from, I want to say, good thoughts, joyful memories from the past. And I really feel like, you might have had your favorite dish at Thanksgiving or during holidays, and it reminds you of family time, and it's hard for you to say no to those mashed potatoes and gravy. Or like for me, French fries are my favorite food, like my number one favorite food on the planet. And I think it might stem from going to McDonald's when I was, a young child. And I will always have that love for French fries, McDonald's French fries in particular. So I feel like the tongue is directly related to sensory pleasures. Even though, guys, Google says that our butts are the strongest muscle in the body, I think that's misunderstood. I'm going to tell you why I think the tongue is still the strongest muscle in the body. I don't think I told you that the tongue has 8 different muscles within it. So 8 muscles within one big muscle that is responsible for so many cool ass things in this world. So putting the food stuff aside for a minute, because I know we talk a lot about diet stuff on this channel, guys. Check out my videos, go in the playlists. And I appreciate it, of course, but I want to talk about some inspirational stuff. The basis of so much inspiration in this world starts with the tongue, with expression of words. Art, singing, songwriting, poetry, romance novels, beautifully written scripts for movies, prayer, and saying peaceful words, words of affirmation to other people, giving inspiration, trying to motivate somebody, trying to inspire them and give them a little bit more confidence, teaching all the beautiful different languages, philosophy, guys. What would we do without the words? What would we do without the tongue? We need it for all of these beautiful things. And the reason we are here to spread our love. But you must be careful because the tongue is the strongest muscle in the body, Misty says, no matter what Google says about the butt, because my butt cannot do what my tongue can do. And I'm not even talking about the other stuff, guys. Ew. You did what with your tongue? Ew. Really? You did that? With who? Be very careful what you say out into the universe, guys. And I'm working on this myself. I'm trying to be less gossipy, but I say some things that I don't mean sometimes when I'm angry at Andrew or at someone in your family or someone at work. And, we're going to do this. But when you do it, try to notice it. If you say something bad about somebody, it goes out into the universe. And so trying to use your words for good is always a better idea. Guys, let me know in the comments what your favorite food is that you're not consuming anymore, or at least not as often, that you've given up, that your tongue is responsible for because it brings back good memories. If it's not giving us the best nutrition possible, then we are eating it for emotional reasons. We want to thank you for listening to Black Eyed Soul. That's our original music we record right here in this room, Andrew and I. Check us out on blackeyedsoul.com or anywhere you find streaming music, we are there. And my truth bomb is, if you think that the tongue is just a fleshy, controlling monster in your mouth that is very, very powerful and has say over what you eat and the food choices you make, you may be right. But you have the power, when you really, really concentrate, to slay this dragon in your mouth. And making healthy food choices is as easy as saying, "Not today, tongue, I'm in control." Using your tongue instead to inspire is a better use of your tongue than eating crappy foods that it remembers. I still think it's the strongest muscle in the body. But you are even stronger, even if you're a super taster. We'll see you next time on Love Style. Peace out.